Hi there, my name is Marcel, and on behalf of Astromatrix, I'm here today to talk to you about Chiron that's going to be retrograding on the 15th of July through Aries. Before I dive into that, I'd like to ask, please, if you enjoy our content, to like and subscribe to our channel. So let's dive into what this means. Chiron, for those of you that do not know, is a dwarf planet, and it's also known as the wounded healer. So it's positioned in our chart at birth, and where it's positioned in our chart is where we experience our deepest wounding. So, for instance, if you have Chiron in the 11th house, it's where you as a child experienced scarring, wounding around community, friendships, groups, and just generally feeling accepted. So it would have happened in preschool or schooling years. And so what ends up happening is it sets up this theme for us throughout our lives. It's that wound that always lies in the background, informing how it is that we make decisions when it comes to that arena of the wound. So for instance, is it the 10th house, which is work, or is it the 7th house, which is one-on-one relationships, or perhaps the 4th house related to home? And so wherever Chiron lies in our chart, this is the area of focus that we spend our lives learning to integrate and eventually step into our power with. So when we turn, it's around the age of 50, this is when we experience our Chiron return. And this is a period in our life when we step into our power. So we've been through the whole life cycle, the first 50 years of really meeting that wound and experiencing all the illusions around it. And in theory, if we've done the work, it means that we can then own the power of that wound and become the teacher of sorts, if that is your calling. So it's generally an intense period around the 50s where we are meeting those core wounds. So it's very useful to understand this, to understand what your natal Chiron, where it lies and what sign it's in, because the Chiron retrograde is informed by the essence, the flavors of that natal placement. So before we proceed, it's really useful to go to your chart, first of all, and see where 12 degrees of Aries lies, because this is where the retrograde is going to start from. And the symbol is like a circle with a K on it. So it's a straight line and then a K on it. That's the Chiron symbol. And wherever it lies in your chart in retrograde, where it's going retrograde, it's useful to understand what house that is in, as well as which house in your natal chart Chiron lies, because the essence of the natal influence will be affecting and informing how that plays out for you. So for instance, if Chiron lies in your 10th house, it's to do with your career. If natal Chiron is in your 11th house, it has to do with community, friendships, and groups, which means that the Chiron retrograding through your 10th house of career there will be wounding that you're needing to explore related to friendships and groups. Wherever Chiron lies in your chart is an incredibly important direction for you to move into. It's where you're needing to fully access your power, and possibly where you could be a catalyst for some kind of change in the greater sense when you step into your wisdom around the 50s. So let's explore what's going to be happening. It actually starts, the intensity of it starts around the new moon. And the new moon is happening on the 15th of July. And during this period, we have a T-square between Uranus, Saturn, and an opposition, so a square between Uranus and Saturn, and an opposition to a conjunction between Mars and Venus. Then we have the new moon, which of course is always the sun and the moon coming together in a sextile to Uranus. So this build-up leads towards Chiron, which is at that point is at 9 degrees, but eventually comes into a square with Chiron, where we have Chiron in the mix as well as the North Node. So this all feels very, very fated. There are areas in our life that we are stuck in, and there are areas in our life that we're needing to break free from. there are areas in our life that we're needing more responsibility and commitment and dedication. There are shifts and transformations that are needing to happen. And this very much has to do with how it is that we assert ourselves and take action through Mars, as well as Venus, how it is that we value ourselves, our sense of aesthetics, and how it is that we love. So again, looking to see where all these areas lie in your chart will get a sense of the themes that are playing out for you. And this is where Chiron is pulled in. So wherever Chiron is moving through will be affected by all of those areas. So Chiron on the retrograde comes into a sextile with Saturn. So it's working with Saturn throughout this retrograde, which means Saturn is teaching it a sense of responsibility. And this is on the 15th. It also comes into a semi-sextile, which is a less impactful aspect, but an aspect nevertheless to be mentioned. And it just means that these two are not speaking the same language. So Chiron comes into a semi-sextile with Uranus. This is on the 15th. It also comes into a square with the North Node. So even though Saturn is helping Chiron to really come to understand these wounds and to shift them, it's still in a tension with the North Node, which is wanting us to follow in that direction, to focus our energies there. So at some point, as Chiron comes out of the square with the North Node, it will find a process where it can start integrating the wounding around that area. So when it's in that tension with the North Node, the square, the area of tension, we've still got the support coming through from Saturn, and then as it retrogrades down and it moves out of the square with the North Node, we can start breathing and working on a deeper level with that wounding, because we have had that support from Saturn. Then when the retrograde starts stationing direct and moving forward again on the 19th of December, it will hit the North Node again. And that's when it's going to be in a square again, but this time it's not about reviewing because it's going backwards, it's now about moving forward. So we will be able to integrate that tension so much better. So we need those squares, we need those areas of tension in order for us to integrate and to grapple with the challenges that come our way. If everything was just trines and sextiles where it was comfortable and easy, we're not stretched to our capacity, which really calls from us to ask deeper questions and to really examine and to explore deeper areas of our psyche and of our life in order to move forward. So these are the benefits of these tensions. So Chiron, as I mentioned, is wanting you to explore your wounding in that specific area of your chart where it's retrograding, and depending on where it lies in your natal chart will determine the theme of what it is that you're exploring. So Chiron is ultimately your friend, albeit a challenge. It's a place where you can experience your spiritual strength, but you have to put the work in, and you have to allow yourself to work through the limitations and illusions of what that area of your chart represents before you can fully step into your power with it. So I hope that shed some light on your situation, and if you did enjoy this, please like and subscribe to our channel. Thank you for your time. Bye for now.